The people you've been learning the Bible from, they've been lying to you. All right, Shalom Israel, where the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yahana. And we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group nor any other Christian organization. Allow me to explain to you the effects of slavery, all right, and oppression, and the brutalization, and the abuse, and the sexualization that was done and afflicted on Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, those effects caused mental illnesses, mental disturbances, right? As you know today, called under the umbrella of mental health. It caused neuro disabilities. It caused many problems like anxiety and depression. Imagine not knowing that our oppressor, being the abuser that he is, and the brutalizer that he is, and the sexualizer that he is, that he abused us to the point of depression, and he abused us to the point of anxiety. He abused us to the point of ADHD and different kinds of neural disabilities like dyslexia and intellectual disorders and learning disorders. He abused us and brutalized us and sexualized to this point. And then he wants to say, and then he's so shocked and appalled at the conditions of Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Allow me to free you from the image that you have of your Donald Trumps and your Joe Bidens and your Democrats and your Republicans and your conservatives and your liberals. They are the absolute devil that the Bible speaks of. And I'm going to prove it to you today in the Bible. Christ said that they are the devil that the Bible speaks of in the words exhibited right here and stated right here in John chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal. Meaning the thief doesn't come unless he's coming to steal. We must know that our oppressors are nothing but thieves. You understand? They're nothing but thieves and liars and deceivers. We must see that. How do we know that our oppressors are nothing but thieves? They stole this entire land that we now know as the United States of America. They conquered the land of Mexico. They conquered the majority of South America, all of South America and Central America. That's why it's called America to begin with. The Spaniards are our oppressors. The Portuguese are our oppressors. The Irish are our oppressors. The Polish are our oppressors. The Swedish, the Germans are our oppressors. The British, the Scottish are our oppressors. The English, the UK are our oppressors. And they've done so much damage to so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says the thief cometh not but for to steal. Our oppressor didn't just steal our land. He didn't just steal our belongings. He didn't just steal our property. He stole our identity. He stole some of our ways of life. He stole some of our philosophies, and he stole our well-being. He stole our safety. He stole the very thing that was going to keep us alive, which was our identity, of us knowing that we are the Israelites and we are to keep the laws of God if we are so-called Black, Latino, and Native American. And by doing so, our identity is so far stolen. We've been so far removed from our identity, and we've been so far removed from our God by being brutalized, by being abused, and by being sexualized. We end up seeing the world in his eyes. We end up thinking how he thinks. We end up being forced to participate in the activities and the sports that he loves to watch. Our oppressor is such the devil. He would take two strong black men and make them fight each other to the death. No different than the Romans would take black men who were Israelites and Jews in the Roman Empire and make them fight in the Colosseum as gladiators and fight against each other and lions until the death. No different. They do it today. It's called the NFL. You understand? There was this brother, man. His name was Shane Taruma or Tarama. And please forgive me for messing up the name. All right. But his name was Shane. And he suffered from a concussion and some mental disorder because of the NFL, because of football. And it caused him to have such a mental illness that he went inside of this place known as the NFL and unalived so many people. And he said weeks prior, please study my brain. Something is wrong with me. These were his words. Well, just like the NFL caused Shane to have a mental disorder because of them forcing him to abuse himself with other men in relation to tackling each other and beating each other up and knocking heads with each other, well, that's slavery. Our oppressor literally steals our mentality away from us. He literally steals our mental state from us. That's how much of a thief he is. He can't just settle with your belongings. He can't just settle with your property. He must take your identity. He must take your mental state. He must take your sobriety. That's how much of a thief our oppressor is. And Christ said it right here. And to kill, meaning to unalive, and to destroy our oppressors. He must unalive. He must take the lives of others. He knows no other way. That is his solution to all of his problems. If there's beef between him and somebody else, his solution is to unalive him. Why do you think that the Bloods and the Crips and the Gangster Disciples and the Latin Kings and the Pyrus unalive each other when they have a beef with each other? We learned that from solving our problems like our oppressors, because we were brutalized and abused to think and solve problems and make decisions like him. When the mafia had a beef, they unalived each other. When Al Capone, Bugsy Siegel, Crazy Joe, Machine Gun Kelly, Babyface Nelson, when they had beef with each other, when the Gambinos had beef with each other, when the Bananos had beef with each other, when the Colombos had beef with each other, when the Genoveses had beef with each other, when the Lukis had beef with each other, they unalived each other. Because that's the solution to the problems of our oppressor. And we learned those behaviors. It says it, and Christ said it himself. And Christ said, in addition to that, I am come that they might have a life. Because we can't have a life if we're joined to them. We can't have a life if we live our life like our oppressors. We don't have a life outside of the Most High God. We won't have a life as a Democrat. We can't have a life as a Republican. We can't have a life as a conservative. We can't have a life as a Democrat or as a liberal. We can't have a life if we're Baptist. We can't have a life if we're Methodist. We can't have a life if we're 7 Days Adventists. We can't have a life if we're Pentecostal. We can't have a life if we're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, spiritual, whatever you call it. We can't have a life if we're so far up our oppressors behind, up under his doctrine, his philosophies, his way of life? We must divide and separate ourselves from his abuse, from his brutalizations, and from his sexualizations. Because if not, we'll never have a life. Christ is saying it right here. And meaning addition to that, that they might have it more abundantly, that we will have a life more than we could ever imagine if we leave our oppressors alone, if we divide ourselves from our oppressor. Slavery caused the same traumas as the NFL caused on that brother named Shane, who recently unalived people at some NFL Sports Center complex, whatever you want to call it. Mental illnesses, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, the same mental illnesses you develop from going to war. We developed these same disorders and these same illnesses by being oppressed and brutalized and abused and sexualized by our oppressors. I pray that all of you understand the message. You understand? With that, I say shalom. With the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group nor any other Christian organization. Shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to ISUPK.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're 1